Welcome back to the She Can Share podcast. I'm really excited to share with you today. I have a special guest and a new friend, Cienna Kopischke, and she is an incredible mompreneur. She actually is a 3 times multi six-figure Christian and visibility sales business coach. She teaches women how to grow and scale their businesses using potent marketing and sales tactics and removes limiting beliefs that are holding them back. She is a Christian who loves the Lord, and I'm so excited for this conversation today. So, welcome, Cienna, to the show.
Melissa, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I love hearing how people got into doing what they're doing. And I know that you're not just a business owner, but you have a 2-year-old son too, don't you?
I do, yeah, and we have another one on the way. So that is
Oh,
so exciting.
oh, how far along are you?
So I want to preface this by saying I am not pregnant. We are adopting. So just to like clear the air here, we are adopting a little we actually don't know if it's going to be a boy or girl. So I'm really thrilled to find out, and hopefully they will be placed in our home either next month or the month after. So
Well,
I'm
that is huge.
yeah.
So you're expecting, but just in a whole different special way.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's so wonderful.
Thank you.
Man, that's so cool. You'll have to come back on the show in a couple of months and we'll have to hear about the transition and how it all went. But
Yeah.
tell us how you got into doing what you're doing and just share your story with us.
Yeah. So this is kind of a long story, so I'll try to make it like as short as possible.
Sure.
But basically I was 16 years old when I started college, and I tell everybody like at 16 years old, you don't really know what you want to do yet. You don't know who you are or where you want to go. And I thought for so long that I wanted to follow into my mom's footsteps and become an attorney. And I would watch like Legally Blonde and Elle Woods, and I would say, okay, if she can do it and go to Harvard, I can do it. And that was kind of my journey. And so I graduated, I got my associate's degree like when I turned 18. And then I went on to a university because I went to a community college to get my associates, and then I went on to a university after that. And I'll be honest, because I thought I wanted to become a lawyer, I was like, oh, I'll be a like international corporate attorney. So I'll take business classes and then I'll go to law school afterwards. Everything's gonna work out. Except I could not pass accounting. So I could not graduate with a bachelor's degree in business. And it was so hard for me. And I was like, why do I keep failing this class? And so my dad was like, you need to figure out what you want to do. And so long story short, at that time of my life, I was watching a lot of Grey's Anatomy. And so I said, okay, I'm going to become a surgeon. This is going to be easy. I got this. I can be a surgeon. And I found this program that takes students to different countries to watch surgeries. And so here I
Wow.
was. Yeah, it's crazy. Here I was in the middle of Germany on my first trip, and I got to stand in all of these different like surgeries and like watch like I mean the things that I have seen in the OR are insane and crazy and wonderful, and such a blessing to be able to see them. But I recognized through that experience that I didn't want to be a surgeon. Like I loved seeing it. It was really cool, but like also at the same time it just wasn't for me. There was something that wasn't there. And as a result, anytime I had a break, I would like hop on different trains and I would travel to other different countries in Europe. And so I went to like all of these amazing and wonderful countries alone. And like it was so great and so powerful. And I realized that I had a natural love for traveling the world and exploring other cultures and communities and food and all these things. And so I got back home, and my dad's like, okay, well, you have to finish your degree. Like, you have to get a degree in something, like, right? Because he's paying for it. And I closed my eyes, and I do not recommend anyone do this, but I closed my eyes and I picked a random major on the list of majors that my university offered, and the major that I picked was advertising. So I got my degree in advertising. And then as soon as I graduated, I got my first full time job as a digital campaign specialist working at like a huge television and radio station. The job ended up being extremely toxic, and I thought it was my dream job. I was like so happy and excited to like take on this role, but it was the most toxic job I've ever been in. And I would literally sit in the parking lot and cry every morning before I walked into the building, or like have to like listen to different podcasts to calm myself down, or like certain types of music to get myself in the mood to even walk through the door. And I knew that that was not for me anymore. And so I lasted in the corporate world for only 7 months. And then one day while I was at work, I just felt led to open my computer and search plane tickets. So I found a plane ticket to Barcelona for $200. And I was like, okay, this is a sign from God that like I need to go to Europe. And this was a very different version of myself. And so back then, I was wild because I was young and I was trying to figure it all out and like understand what this world has for me and all the things. And so I booked a party hostel, which was only $5 a night to stay at. So I really enjoyed it. Like I spent like literally no money to be in Barcelona. And on my final day of in Barcelona, I decided to walk at 10 o'clock at night, which again, I do not recommend this because I'm alone in a city and I'm a woman and anything can happen. And here I am walking the streets of Barcelona at 10 o'clock at night, and I just had a breakdown. I started crying, like so many tears are coming out of my eyes. And I am overwhelmed with the fact that I've put up with a job that has been so toxic to me for the past 7 months. And so I decided when I got back home that I was going to give in my 2 week notice. And that's exactly what I did. I had no real backup plan, no thoughts of how I'm supposed to make money. I just knew I needed to quit my job. So I came back home. I immediately gave my 2 week notice. I got fired for giving my 2 week notice, which was perfect anyway. My now husband, back then boyfriend, and I were living together. And I remember saying to him, hey, so like, I don't have a job anymore. Are you going to be able to support me? And he said yes. And then from there, I started my very first business called Your Life Travel Club. Unfortunately, due to COVID, I had to shut down, but I got to host these beautiful and wonderful international trips. And all of these women would come with me, and it was just so much, it was so much fun. And I was able to turn that because of COVID. I turned my what I did into a podcast. And so I had a podcast called Your Life Travel Club, and I interviewed all these people with their crazy and wild and amazing travel stories. And sponsors started picking up on my podcast and they started to sponsor me. And that's how I made money during COVID. And then in 2021, I got pregnant with my son, and I was diagnosed with a condition called hyperemesis gravidarum. If you're not familiar with that, it's a condition that only affects 2% of pregnant women worldwide, and I happen to be one of the two. And so what it does is it causes you to vomit uncontrollably, like all the time. So I was puking 120 times a day for 9 months straight. Yes, it was like, it was terrible. It was like the worst thing I've ever been through in my entire life. And obviously, I couldn't podcast, and I was off work for 9 months of that time. I wasn't really able to do much because I was vomiting so often that I was in bed. I was hospitalized over 13 times, and then my body eventually went into organ failure. And then I had to have an emergency C-section to deliver my son. So the entire thing was so traumatic. And honestly, it put a pause in so much. But when my son was 1 month old, which also sounds really crazy, but when he was 1 month old, I started a different business called the Mommy Agency, which was my social media management agency that helped mompreneur business owners. And now I'm a business coach. So that is how I got to where I am. It's very
Wow.
long, but that's me.
Wow. Can we just take a moment and just recognize? Can we just take a moment and just recognize what an incredible overcomer you are?
Thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. It's been
Oh
a
my,
journey, but I'm here.
yeah. You know what I love about you too is you were inspired from Elle Woods, which come on, Elle Woods, and then
Yeah,
the other Grey's
Grey's
Anatomy.
Anatomy.
I love that you were like, I could do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like you sharing your story just now, I hope whoever's listening can hear that and think, I could do that. You're
Mhm.
like the Elle Woods of the She Can Share podcast.
I love
Man,
that.
yeah, I just for so many moms. I mean, I have a community of moms too, and it's really hard, but I don't
Yeah.
know anybody that I personally, maybe someone's listening, don't know anybody that can say that they vomited 120 times a day from that and then still found a way to step into what it is that they felt God was calling them to do. So that is
Mhm.
incredible.
Thank you so much. Yeah. And like I said, it's been such a journey and it really brought me back down to earth, right? It like humbled me a lot, but I I wouldn't want to go through that again, but what I got out of it was such an amazing blessing. Not just my son, who is awesome and wonderful and so healthy, but also on top of that, I have been able to create another thriving business and provide for my family and stay at home with him, which has been really cool.
Yeah. I want to get into like the tactical things because I know you're really passionate about how to make sales not sleazy and all the business side. But before that, what I find is so unique about you is you've had times in your business and your life where you've had to pivot,
Yeah.
right? And so for somebody listening right now that maybe is feeling stuck, that maybe is feeling like things aren't happening, right? In the way
Right.
that they thought that they would turn out, which you've experienced several times.
Mhm.
Like, what's your perspective on those moments and how have you pivoted in a way that you found it to be successful?
Yeah, my perspective is you just have to follow God. I think life in and of itself is always going to be a lot of ups and downs. Nothing is ever going to be perfect. There is like a lot of people pivot often, right? Like we make different decisions. We no longer want to do something that we felt passionate about. Like I was so happy and excited to get that corporate job that was like my dream job, the job that aligns with my college degree. As soon as I got into it, I recognized this wasn't for me. You have to have discernment in your heart. You have to have discernment for what you're doing because if you're not listening to the Lord and his calling over your life, then you're listening to the enemy. And if you're so focused on the enemy, then you're never going to experience the joys and the gifts and all of the abundance that Jesus has for you. So I
Mm.
think if you are in a season where you're like, okay, I'm recognizing this is not where I want to be, or things are not working out for me, then it is time for you to ask God, where does He want you? And for you to immediately take action. It was very scary to leave a cushy job that was paying all of my bills and say, okay, I have no idea how I'm going to make money. It was scary again when COVID decided to shut down the entire world. And I had this business that was doing so well and was making me so happy. And here I am not able to pursue that business and go, okay, wait a second, I need to pivot. Otherwise, I'm going to stay stuck. I'm going to stay stagnant and go, okay, let's turn this into a podcast. It was scary again when I got really, really sick. I didn't know if I was going to live after that entire situation. There are a lot of women. I don't think this is talked about a lot because I didn't even know about this condition or that it could happen. But there are women who lose their lives from having hyperemesis. And I'm very fortunate that I'm still alive today
Mm.
and not knowing whether or not I was going to lose my life or not being able to pay any of my bills for 9 months because I had no more money coming in that way, right? Having to fully rely on my husband's job. Thank God he has one. But having to fully rely on that again in my life, those are all humble experiences. And if I didn't listen to what God had for me, I would stay stuck in what Satan wanted for me, which was he wanted me to be depressed. He wanted me to stay stagnant in my situation. He wanted me to experience, not being able to pay my bills fully. But Jesus had other plans for me. He said, I know that you just went through this situation. I know that, times are hard right now, but I am calling you to do something really, really great. And if I didn't listen to him, I wouldn't even be on this podcast today. I would be sitting in my room trying or taking care of my toddler, trying to figure out life as just a stay-at-home mom. But I am so much more than a mom. And I think when we recognize where God is calling us, it is so easy to make that pivot because when we fall, we know that we're falling into his arms and that he is going to catch us right where we are.
Girl, preach. I hope you guys
Oh,
all heard that. Just like hit the 30-second rewind and go back and listen to it because I think so many of us need to. That is so good. That is
yeah,
so good. So, like, very practically, because I love like the beginning part of like, what
yeah,
did you do when you were like, okay, I'm gonna start this business as far as
yeah.
like being a business coach. Did you just like reach out to like five women that you knew and you were like, hey, I'm doing business coaching. How did you price yourself? Like, what was
Yeah. My first take on business coaching was I did it for free. Like I had exactly what you said. I reached out to five women who knew me and I said, "Hey, I want to start a program, but I really don't know the ins and outs of what this program are going to look like and I need help to build this program. Would you like to be a beta client for free?" And you know what? Even though it was a free program, a lot of people knock free things. Even though it was a free program, these five women took it so seriously and they invested their time. They showed up for every single call. They showed up in the community that I created on Voxer for them. They were there. They were taking action, and that was awesome to see. So we got to do that together, and I got to build out my programs because of that.
That's so good. I'm so glad. I hope everybody listening just heard you say that because I have talked with so many women that are like, I don't know what to do. I'm not really sure, and I'm not sure how to price it. I'm like, you need to just like take action by reaching out to a couple people and as you're
Yeah.
figuring it out, serve people, help people because
Mhm.
clarity comes with action. So I love that you did that. I've started programs the same, and
Yeah.
it's awesome because it's a win-win for both people.
It really is. And I will say, if you're struggling with pricing in your business, the first person that you should consult is the Lord. Like
There you go.
I fully believe that there is not anything about your business that you should not be praying over, right? You should pray over pricing. You should pray over your content. I say that so heavily. Like pray over your content. Ask God to allow your content to reach the people that it needs to reach. You should pray over your Instagram stories. Ask God to allow your Instagram stories to lead people to take action with you. You should pray over your program as a whole, the people in your programs, making sure, or like if you don't have a program, maybe you're a service provider, whatever it is that people are buying from you, paying you for, you should be praying over your clients and your customers because these are the people that pay your bills. And I'm not saying like pray for their personal lives because maybe you don't know their personal lives, but you should be praying that they get the level of success that they are coming to you for, right? Like there are certain things that I pray for. Pricing is 100% one of them. Whether or not I should do this group coaching program for free or at a low paid rate, before I go to any business coach, and I say this even though I am a business coach, I go to God because He is your number one business coach, because He is the person that put that business in your heart. And if it wasn't for Him, you would not be able to make sales. So the first person you need to be seeking in all of this is Jesus. Go to Him and ask Him, and He will give you answers.
There you go. There
Yeah.
you go. I just love it. That's so good. That's absolutely right. I think it's funny too, because I think a lot of people hear from the Lord. I actually had someone send me a message yesterday on Facebook saying, like, I know you say that you can hear from God, but I don't. And I said, you wouldn't be a Christian if you didn't hear from God. You just need
Mm,
to learn how to attune your voice to how He speaks to you. And so I think a lot of people are hearing from God or they like know what to do. They just maybe think that because other people aren't doing what they're doing, that maybe they're off or not hearing. But I absolutely agree with you.
yeah, no, for
Um,
sure.
one of the things that you are known for is obviously even like helping to make sales not sleazy. Can you tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about that?
Yeah, my entire philosophy,
There you
my
go.
my entire philosophy on sales is you just want to make natural connections. You don't have to push your offers into everyone's faces. You don't have to beg people to buy from you. If your messaging is where it needs to be and you're really and truly building a community, whatever that looks like to you, you are going to be able to make sales. So, what I mean by this, just to give some practical insight here, is the very first thing, like let me back up. If you are making sales from Instagram specifically, right? Or you want to make sales from Instagram specifically, the first thing that I will say that you need to do is you need to be doing some form of engagement. If you want engagement, you want people to like and engage and comment and follow you, then you should be liking, commenting, and following others, and not just anybody, right? You should be doing that to people who are your potential ideal clients. And I say this, and I say that to also say that as you're getting to know them, right, you are building real relationships with them. I tell this story often, but I have one girl who paid me and joined one of my containers because she posted her air fryer in her Instagram stories. And I thought it was the coolest thing. And I was like, I have the exact same air fryer. Okay. This was my first conversation with this girl. I didn't even know her. I didn't even realize we were following each other. And she has an air fryer and I have an air fryer. It's the same. So I sent her a message and I was like, hey girl, I have the same air fryer. I hope you love this one. And she was just like, yeah, I'm loving it so far. Do you have any recipes? Okay. So now she's asking me a question. We're getting to talk about an air fryer. We talked for 2 weeks about her air fryer. And the entire time we were talking in the DMs about her air fryer, she's looking at my content because I post content every single day, which is something I encourage everybody else to do. My content doesn't sell to you. It doesn't say, join my program now, or you need to be in this program, else you're not going to do X, Y. It doesn't say any of that. My content is nurturing content. It is content that takes the ideas that you already know in your heart to be true because I speak directly to my ideal clients, and it puts it into a perspective of, if we were working together, this is how this would be solved, right? And then I'm selling in my Instagram stories. I show up every day and I talk about my program. What are the benefits of my program? What is the transformation that you are going to receive when you invest in my program? Not just in your business life, but in your personal life. Because what I do and what I believe is what I do goes far beyond your business.
Oh,
Yes, you may
yeah.
be able to make $5,000 as a result of working with me, but what does that mean for your personal life? Does that mean that you get to stay at home with your kids and leave your 9 to 5, and you and your husband are no longer struggling, to pay the bills and all of these things, right? Like, that is the work that we are doing. And I'm talking about that in my stories. I'm giving you a direct link where you can go and learn more information about my program and buy. And one day she sends me a message and she goes, hey, so I've been watching your stories and I want to join. I want to join your program. And I was like, awesome. Here's the link. And she already had the link because she had been watching my stories. So I will say, when you're building a community, when you're making sales that isn't sleazy, you have to remember that every single interaction with someone else, those are people. They're not just a number for you. They're not just like, let's say my price for my mastermind is like $1,000 total. That person's not $1,000 to me. That person is a person. And I
Yeah.
have to get to know, it is my job to get to know who they are behind the scenes, right? And so that's what I'll say. If you're looking for to deepen your clients, your relationship with your clients, if you're looking to get more clients in your programs or in your services that care about what it is that you're doing, you have to first build a real relationship with them.
Yeah, that's so good. I love that. And I love how you're talking about really giving value in like your feed and what you're talking about, but then you're showing up and you're selling in your stories. Is that
Yeah.
really kind of like your
Yeah, that's
yeah,
my style, my method. I just don't like selling in my content because, let's be honest, most people don't see your content anyway. To just put it blankly, 70% of people actually do not see your content. And so that's a big number of people. And so when
yeah.
we look at stories, stories are so different. A vast majority of people are seeing your stories, and Instagram's algorithm is built that if you're having DM conversations, it doesn't matter what it's about. It could be about rose petals, right? Like, it doesn't matter. I've had lots of clients who've come to me after me and them only chatting about like the fact that they're also military spouses, or the fact that they have small kids at home just like I do. And then because I'm selling in my stories, they're seeing those stories. Now, I will say, in today's world, because of TikTok and other platforms, people have a very short attention span. My pastor said it best. People, on average, people's attention span is 8.5 seconds before they like are gone from something, which is really crazy. And so knowing that since I know that it only takes 8.5 seconds to like get someone captivated and like allowing them to watch my stories all the way through, I have to be very careful with what I'm saying in my stories and how long each story is and all of those things, right? But on top of that, it takes someone on average 20 times to see your business promoting over and over and over again before they buy. So, my other advice is if you are selling in your stories and you're not being consistent, number one, start being consistent. Number two, um, keep showing up every day, because here's the truth is because it takes someone 20 times, if you're posting every day, Monday through Friday, that is going to take you an entire month before you start to see sales for the next month.
That's awesome. I love how dialed in you are about it. Do you
Yeah.
usually, I know a lot of people right now are doing kind of different strategies by saying like comment this and I'll send it to you. They're using ManyChat or they'll just put the link directly in the stories. What are you finding is successful and working for you right now?
I do a mix of both. So in my content itself that goes on my feed, I do put I don't say comment, I say DM me this particular word. Which does typically work. I really like that. But I will say also too, I do not allow anyone to pay me unless I know them. So if you are a random stranger and you come to my Instagram account and we have never had a conversation, you will not be able to just enroll in my program. And there's a reason for that. I am really big on relationships, I'm really big on community. And it's important for me to at least know some basics of your life before you become my client. And so, one of the things that I really do is I do put the link in my stories, but I also alternate. So, one day I might put a link, another day I might put a poll. So, this way, people who are not ready to jump all in yet, they can just click on the poll and I can hop in their DMs and we can chat through what we need to chat through. So I can make sure that we're mutually beneficial for each other.
I love that. Do you find too most of your sales come through your Instagram or are you promoting and marketing other places?
Yeah, so my entire marketing strategy leads me to my sales, and 99.9% of all of my sales comes from Instagram stories, particularly. Outside of that, I will say my marketing strategy is, of course, to hop on podcasts like I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
But that's more like public relations, right? So I have to get visible. It's important for every brand, in my opinion, to get visible in some capacity to people who do not know who you are. That is the first pillar of my sales strategy. Well, really, the first pillar of my sales strategy is my own mindset. Because I believe that if you do not have the right mindset, you are not going to be able to do what you need to do, right? The second pillar is going to be visible. So, ways that you can get visible are you can show up as a guest on podcasts, you can write guest blogs, which are a lot of people miss out on this, but like this is gold. Like there are a lot of people who own blogs that do not want to write their own blogs, especially because their websites have gotten so much traffic that they are so busy doing other things that they just don't have the time to write blogs anymore. And this is where regular people like me and you and other entrepreneurs can step in and write guest blogs for them. And because of all the traffic that's already going to their website, people are going to see that and they're going to connect with you further, right? Going live on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, but especially if you go live with somebody else, it's not really considered going visible or getting visible if you're just going live by yourself because you're not really getting in front of anybody new. So I would say that you want to make sure that you are getting visible in front of new people every day, people who have never heard your name before. So going live with another person is going to be key there. The other way, in one of my favorites, is networking. Hop into networking calls. If you can't find in-person networking events in your city, or maybe in-person networking events just feel really like gross to you, I will be honest with you, in my city, where I live, I've been to several different in-person networking events, and they are all primarily run by men. And there's nothing wrong with men, but we are we all, I'm sure as women we've all experienced this where it just doesn't align very well, or you're getting pushed into sales that you just like. I'll tell you this quick story. One time I went to the actual last networking event that I went to, and as I was there, I met this guy and he told me that he was interested in my services. And I was very excited about that. But he didn't have to lie. Okay. So I was happy to just get to know him and like connect and like see if we can support each other because that's what we do in female entrepreneur circles, right? We support each other. And so he invited me out for coffee. So I go out to coffee with him to talk about business. I get there and I'm like, hey, did you want to go order coffee? And he says, no, like I already had coffee today. I don't need any more coffee. So I was like, okay. So we're just sitting in this coffee shop and he pulls out an entire presentation and starts talking to me about his business and what his business
No.
can do for me. And I was just like, what did I get myself into? Then he wants to rope my husband involved, and he's like, so can I set up a call for you and your husband and all the things? And like at the end, he finally says, and also, who is a good referral partner for you? I would like to refer people to you. I was like, okay, this conversation is done. You don't care about me. You've wasted my time. You've got me away from my family to talk to me about your business that I wasn't really interested in. And it just wasn't a good. I think he was selling life insurance, and I was like, I already have life insurance. Like, I don't need any more life
My
insurance.
word, those are the worst.
It it was bad.
I have had people that have like sent me messages and then like it's what's sad is now I'm on this back foot of like what's the catch? What's the catch? When are they going to be like, "So let me tell you about," and I'm like, "I don't know. I was excited about a new friend and now you've ruined it because
Yes,
you're trying to pitch
exactly.
me for your program and it doesn't work.
It
I'm
does
sniffing
not
you
work.
out and yeah, no.
It's
Um,
so funny.
that's
But
funny.
yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, one of the things that you said that I think is so true is making sure that you have the right belief system.
Mhm.
And I would love to know like what that's been like for you, especially like the valley and the challenges that you've had to overcome. Because for myself, like I have found it incredibly uncomfortable putting myself in rooms with people that are more successful than me, getting clients that are that I think I'm unqualified to be able to have, and really leveling up my like self-concept has been extremely uncomfortable, and I don't think that's talked about enough. And specifically for Christian women who want to like stay humble and this just like false belief and yeah, so there's so much to talk about with that, but I'd love to know like what that's been like for you, if that's been a struggle or a challenge or how you've overcome
Yeah. I mean,
things.
I'm not perfect. I've definitely had my struggles with mindset and all of the things, but the number one thing that I always come back to is Jeremiah, right? In the Bible. And as you're reading Jeremiah chapter 1, God is calling Jeremiah and he's saying, Jeremiah, I need you to go to this place and I need you to tell these people that if they do not turn away from me or away from me, that if they do not turn towards me, like all of these things are going to happen. And I just think about Jeremiah in these moments. Jeremiah, first of all, if we know who he is, he was a very poor person. He was a teenager roughly at this time. So he wasn't someone who thought of himself as what, like how you said, like you are have a fear to step into rooms with people who are quote unquote above you or who are doing things differently than you in your business. I say differently, that's the nicest, right, nicest way we can phrase that, right? There's always going to be someone who's making more money, there's always going to be someone who's doing all of these things, but God didn't call all of those people to do what he called you to do. He called you to do that job. He called you to step into those rooms. And anytime I hear the enemy tell me, which I hear often, when anytime I hear the enemy tell me, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I shouldn't do that, I am not qualified to enter X, Y, and Z rooms or enter X, Y, and Z or sit at X, Y, and Z tables, I remind him that God called Jeremiah and God can call me too. God gave me this business idea. God is the one who provides food on my table. God is the one who provides me with the clients that I have. Jeremiah turned to God and he told God, God, I'm too young. I can't do this. Don't call on me, right? And what Jeremiah missed out on was the opportunity for God to fully bless him. Instead, he kept giving excuses after excuses after excuses. And God said to him, stop saying that you're too young. I will go with you. I will even talk for you. Right. And Jeremiah was still scared and still couldn't wrap it around his brain that he was meant for what God had called him for. And
Mm-hmm.
so for him, he went and asked God if God can give this opportunity to somebody else, right? And here's the thing about God. When he gives somebody else an opportunity and that person takes your opportunity, God is going to give them all of your blessings and not you,
Mm-hmm.
because he called you to it first. And you are supposed to honor him. And when we don't honor him, we are honoring Satan. And so my thing is, if you believe that Jesus himself has called you into this business and you know in your heart that you have heard from the Lord, then you need to do everything in your power to sell your butt off, make the money that you're supposed to be making, step into rooms that people tell you that you cannot step into, sit at tables with people who are quote unquote better than you, more powerful than you, more successful than you, more richer than you, whatever that looks like, and you show up. And it doesn't matter how it looks, and you take that messy action, because through that messy action, God is waiting on the other side to bless you with something better than you ever thought possible.
Mic drop. I love you. I think you're fantastic. It's so wonderful, like getting to have this conversation with
Yeah.
somebody that has really like you should be so proud of yourself for like not just I can tell you're not just somebody that says it, but you walk it out. And that's obviously very clear in your story, but how you even deliver,
Thank
I can
you.
feel that, and that's powerful. I can feel people getting activated and just
Yeah.
the clarity, you know, and the importance, I think, too, to really rise up because it's really truly not about us. It's really, 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 truly about bringing breakthrough for God on the earth and the just the importance. I know this last year, one of the best revelations I got was how God is a provider and he calls us to provide. He calls us to be a resource. He calls us to not be a beggar, but a builder. And so many, I hate to say it, but so many Christians are stuck in this mindset of asking God rather than partnering with God and bringing heaven into earth. And it's just so important. And I love your message. I love what you're doing. I think you're a true warrior and an overcomer for Christ. And it's awesome how you're activating people. So, can you
Yeah.
tell us like what are you offering? What are you selling? Everybody should go buy it because clearly it's not even, but this is the thing I want people to hear. It's not even about the product. People should pay to connect with you, with a person, because
Mhm.
it's the anointing that breaks the yoke of bondage. It's the anointing, it's the gifting to be able to bring breakthrough into people's lives. So it's not the, you know, the product necessarily that you're offering, which I'm sure is incredible. It's really the opportunity to get to partner with you. So tell us how people can connect with you and how they can partner with you.
Yeah, of course. I'm on Instagram. I That is my favorite
Whoa,
platform.
shocker.
Right? Jaw dropped. But I'm on Instagram at Cienna Kopischke, and I love to connect with people through there. Ways that we can partner together is number one, it will be in my networking call. I host a networking call every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's just a time for women to come together. I say women, we have one man that shows up all the time, and he's amazing. He's a
Okay.
stay-at-home dad, and he has a 7-month-old daughter, and he always has his
Oh.
baby with him. It's so cute. But anyway, I digress. So the networking call is every Thursday, and it's free to attend, and you can come and make friends and connections and all of the things. And then outside of that, other like offers are paid offers, and I have two group coaching programs right now. One to help you hit $5,000 months, and then one to help you hit $10,000 months in your business.
I love it. That's
Mhm.
so wonderful. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that? That is wonderful. And I love, this is a
Yeah.
great marketing thing. I love how you're marketing it with the result.
Yeah,
That was good.
exactly.
That was good.
Yes.
So everyone should go connect with you. And thank you so much for being a guest and coming on the show. You brought so much value. I hope
Oh, thank
everybody
you.
starts showing up in their stories, starts seeing themselves the way that God's called them to and really starts to partner and co-labor with him, even in the midst of motherhood and in the midst
Mm.
of any challenges that you're experiencing. So thank you so much for being on the show. And guys, if you are looking for any type of clarity, any clarity that you need in your business or your brand messaging, in the links in this show description, we have 3 steps to getting clarity in your brand messaging. These are questions, guys, that I want to give you as a free resource because it is so important. As you can tell, Cienna has incredible clarity on what she's doing, and that's why she's a powerhouse in her industry. If you don't have clarity, you're not going to be able to be a powerhouse because you're just going to be stuck in confusion. So get the 3 steps to brand clarity, guys, and be on the lookout for next week's episode. Thank
Yay.
you.
Thanks, Melissa.
Cut.
Yay, that was good.
You were good. You did fantastic.
Thank you.
I love making a new friend.
Welcome,
Yeah.
friend. Oh, your dog.
Yeah. He's
My dog has been
um
downstairs barking. That's why I kept putting myself on mute. I hope that that wasn't super distracting.
no, you were good. Yeah, I have to figure out on Zoom sometimes my computer does notifications and that
Mm.
annoys me. I forget to turn it off. So sorry about
I
that.
didn't hear anything, so you're good.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Um Well, I love what you do, and I definitely want to stay connected somehow. I love that you have that networking group. That's really
Yeah,
great.
for
I'll have
sure.
to
You can
join that
join
on.
anytime.
I was gonna say, so Thursdays at noon, huh?
Yes. And I put the link is in my bio as well. So
Okay. And
I
I know I'll
followed
find it in
you.
your stories.
Yeah, I did just follow you on Instagram because I was like, wait, we haven't connected before, and I'm about to hop on her podcast. Like, so I made sure to follow you. And I tagged you. I talked about you in my stories today.
Oh, yeah. I love the message that you're bringing. Are you going to, and I'm just asking you this
Yeah.
because um I like finding out what other people just like where they glean from, where they're going. I did a couple events last year, like attended or spoke at them, but
Mhm.
I don't know. Me and my friends, we haven't really found any that are like, yeah, we should go. And so I'm
Oh,
curious, are you
I spoke at the Prosper Summit last year. It's hosted by
Prosper?
Sarah Gemmel. It's in, where are you located?
Grand Rapids, Michigan. Where are you?
I'm in Virginia. The Prosper Summit is hosted in an hour north of Atlanta, Georgia, in Gainesville, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
um, but I really enjoyed it. Sarah Gemmel, we call her the Queen of Networking because she is like a networking coach. She teaches you how to make networking profitable. And
Oh,
yeah, I didn't even know that that was a thing that
that's
people
really
were doing.
cool.
Yeah. And this will be her second year doing the Prosper Summit. And I think it's coming up in May. So it's coming up pretty soon, but I had a lot of fun. It was I learned a lot from the other speakers that were there. I made a lot of connections. I've made clients from it, but also I think it's different because I was speaking. I wasn't a guest. I'm going to be a guest this year, so I'm really excited about that. So I can like sit
Awesome.
back and watch.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was really really fun. I really enjoyed it.
that's cool. That's
Yeah,
awesome. I'll have to look into that. I love finding like where other
yeah.
people connect
I
because I
can send
think,
it to you.
okay,
Hold on, that might be a little bit easier. If you're interested, you can check it out and see.
yeah. Um, and what are you like this year? What's your dream? What can I like, and can I support you in any way? Or what are you
Yeah,
hoping to do this year?
I I would love more speaking engagements. So if you know
Okay.
anyone who I do because I've done a lot of virtual speaking engagements,
Yeah.
but none not on stage, except for the Prosper Summit, which was on stage.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I would like to do more in-person speaking engagements. It gets me away from my family. No, I'm just
I
kidding. I
love the
love my family,
honesty.
but I'm always with them.
No,
So
I get it. I get it. Um,
um,
okay.
but
My
yes.
friend Tamra, I don't know if you've heard of her or know her, but she has a pretty popular podcast as well, Fit and Faith. Her and I do
I was looking for the Prosper Summit and something popped up and it scared me.
Oh,
Sorry, continue.
no, you're good. But she actually is a conference host and she hosts events. She has a event founder in the fall.
Okay.
But she would be a great business connection. Just like
Nice.
another woman in business that is has a
Oh,
lot of integrity, is doing great
okay.
things.
Yay.
So I'd be happy to like make the connection for you.
Oh, thank you. I would really appreciate that. Yeah, I
Sure.
would love to meet her. And one, I will try to find this Prosper. I can't find it for some reason on my phone right now, but I will find it and I will send it to you later.
Okay. Cool. Yeah,
But
I
no, this
definitely.
was so much fun. I really appreciate that. And is there anything else that I can support you with?
Um, yeah. Gosh, I guess you mainly do the business coaching? It sounds like though you do business coaching through social media.
It's a little bit of everything. So through my business coaching, I really focus on different strategies that make the most sense for my client. So if social media is not the best fit, like I have one client right now who is a interior designer, and so for her, yeah, social media is great. I actually have her on TikTok, but not as a marketing, not as a like sales tactic, but more so as a helping her to increase the flow of traffic to her website. And so a lot of her growth is coming from SEO and like just making sure her Google My Business is up to date and different things like that.
Yeah, okay. 'Cause you said you had an agency at one point, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a social media agency, yeah.
Yeah, because I have that now. Did you decide just to let
Oh,
yours
wow.
go?
I
Yeah.
let it go. I just walked away. Yeah, it was the best thing.
You are the second person that I've heard say that. Can I ask, like, what was your bottleneck with it?
My employees, the people doing the work, because my agency growth, I think the issue for me was everything grew really fast. Like I had a 1 month old baby when I started it, and then it just like took off. And next thing I knew, I needed to hire help because I couldn't manage all the workload. And so I had 8 team members, and I had to manage all of them. And some of them would slack off, and they wouldn't always do their work, and I just and one there was one girl, she came in and she demanded like such a high salary, and I probably should never have hired her, but I did. And it just she I was paying her 4 grand a month and she was not doing any work, or like the work that she was producing was like very low quality, even though I know her capabilities, which is why I hired her in the first place, because I saw her work from where she was working previously. And it's just like a lot of things. And also to another area of it was the clients that would think that my job was to immediately make them sales.
Yeah,
And I know that you probably experienced that as well. It sucks. It sucks. So I would much rather be a strategist.
I know.
That is the easiest way I can say that. I love creating strategies and putting together like social media strategies, but I do not want to manage social media.
Yes, I do have a good team. I think if I
Good.
didn't, I'd be out.
Yeah,
But uh, what was I gonna say? Yeah, but it is challenging though
it
because I
is.
can't have my eyes on everything, and so
Mhm.
sometimes things aren't, it's just managing people.
Of
Uh,
course.
but yeah, I guess as far as if there's anything that you could do, if there's any of your clients that need social media help, obviously I have an agency, just um, as far as like editing, creating, and posting, it's mostly video content that we
Oh, okay.
leverage because I think
That makes sense.
yeah, video content is awesome. But yeah,
I
so
love that.
yeah,
Awesome.
anything
I will
that,
keep you in mind. Yeah, and I can
okay,
refer you to some people. That'll be great.
great. And I'll connect you with Tamara. Is text or email better?
Email's fine.
Okay.
Well, either one, it doesn't matter.
Okay, I'll connect you guys via email and your episode will probably go out in the next week or two. And
Oh,
so I'll send
yay.
you.
That's so soon. I love that.
Yeah. Are you okay if we usually create content from this and then put it as a reel online and tag
Yeah,
you? Good.
you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely tag me because I like to share like anytime I'm on a podcast to make sure that my audience hears it as well.
Yeah,
So,
cool.
yay.
Well, you're an
Awesome.
excellent guest. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Melissa. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.